Time is precious for entrepreneurs, which means that there is little or no time to plan and prepare healthy meals. But you can run your business and do better than takeout. Here to tell us how is nutritionist Tara Antle. Welcome to the show, Tara.
Thanks so much for inviting me.
What impact does unhealthy eating have on entrepreneurs?
It's unbelievable. As an entrepreneur myself, I know how busy our days can be. And one thing, if we're not eating properly or eating unhealthy foods, there is a food-mood connection. It can make us feel tired, lethargic, cranky, irritable. Multitasking could be a nightmare. So healthy eating can actually help aid some of those day-to-day routines.
Well, you brought some amazing meals with you today. Let's talk about how these healthy solutions can, maybe make me less cranky.
Happy campers, happy customers.
What is this dish here?
Well, really what this one here is a vegetarian option. What I try to demonstrate is how we can take one basic simple meal and build other meals out of it. And it's kind of interesting that we want to be creative when it comes to food. And if we went into any restaurant, a lot of times there's only maybe 4 or 5 ingredients on the whole menu, on the whole list, but they've got it marketed different ways.
Right.
So that's what we're kind of getting here. So we started with a base meal of chili rub pork chops with some rice and a mango black bean salsa.
Yummy.
Which can be a vegetarian option. So what we've done here is converted it over here to a lovely little wrap with some veggies and hummus on the side.
Nice.
To create another meal out of it, another variation.
So you're getting all of the proteins that you need and the vitamins and minerals that you need as well.
Absolutely. For anybody who's a vegan or a vegetarian, because there's all kinds of different definitions,
right.
What's really important is that when we're trying to replace out protein is that we replace in a plant-based protein. The more color, the better that it is. Another recipe that I sometimes use is a 3-bean salad. Mm-hmm. The more color, the more likely you are to build a complete protein, which is better for optimal health and wellness.
Interesting. So what's this? This looks like a pizza.
Yeah, it was just taking the leftover pork and making a little pizza out of it. And these are great because you can freeze them. I usually wrap them in a little bit of cellophane and a little bit of tin foil and freeze them. And they're great for pulling out of the freezer for lunch. So you're making your healthy food convenient and at your fingertips. So I have a fridge in my office because I don't always get to the kitchen in between if it's a crazy day. And what I do is I stock it, and these are everyday foods that I can have in there. That if I end up working late, because sometimes as an entrepreneur we can be all over the place and all over the map when it comes to hours. So it's great to have your healthy food on hand.
So how do you store that? How do you freeze that? So do you just put cellophane or parchment paper in betwin, or
yeah,
what do you
can stack them in one. I like to do things individually because it makes it easier to grab and go.
Right.
So I would actually I could cover that in parchment paper and put some saran wrap. Sometimes I'll use like a Ziploc frozen baggie and keep them in there as well. And they'll last, say, anywhere between 2 to 3 months in the freezer.
Oh, excellent. Now, was this pork rubbed with anything, or what kind of seasoning is on it?
Yeah, all we do, because I find in Newfoundland and Labrador, we know how to season with salt and pepper. So sometimes when it comes to other spices, it's like, how can we be creative? And even with a meal, just switching up the spice will change the whole meal as well. So what I did is I took some chili powder and I mixed some olive oil in with it, and I made my own paste. So then what I did is once that paste was made, I actually just rubbed it over my pork and cooked it up in that.
Yummy.
For something a little bit different, and it adds a lot of flavor too.
And we have another pork type wrap over here, pork dish I should say.
Yeah,
what's that?
Quick and easy. It's just some pork and lettuce, so that was made. If I was making that to freeze, I would have put some peppers into it. I wouldn't freeze lettuce or tomato because it doesn't come out the best. It's pretty soggy.
Good point, yeah.
But with this one, what you can do is you can do up 8 or 9 of them, like a full pack, and freeze them individually. Again, wrap them in saran wrap and then tin foil and put them in a nice baggie and then take them out individually. The good thing with doing it that way is that you can have a different variation when you thaw it out. So you can eat it as a plain wrap, or if I wanted to thaw it out and then add a little bit of salsa and sour cream, I can make like a little enchilada and eat it with a fork and knife.
Nice. Now, one of the things that kind of makes me catch my breath is, meal prep and the time it takes. I know lots of people who can allocate, 4 to 6 hours a week to do meal prep. But say if you have young children or if you're traveling a lot, that could be difficult. When I look at these meals, how long does it take to prepare these meals?
For prepping these meals, surprisingly enough, when I was cooking it up, because it doesn't take any more longer to cook 6 or 7 chicken breasts or pork chops, whatever protein portion, as what it does for 1. So what I did is cooked up 2 family pack platefuls.
Oh, wow.
All
That's
in
a
one
lot of
shot.
pork.
So it's a lot of pork, but it left me with a lot of leftovers.
Yeah.
So then all I did, so that maybe took 8 minutes to cook, tops. And then what I did is sliced up what's left, and then you can freeze that in individual portion sizes and use it for fresh wraps, or if you had a garden salad. If I wanted to go home tonight, if that was chicken, I'd probably do some plain, and I could make chicken cacciatore because the protein's already cooked. So it's an actual investment into time. When I did this meal, the salsa or the mango salad took maybe, I'm going to say, less than 5 minutes to make. It was just firing stuff together and we're good to go. I'm going to say this whole thing, to cook all of this, maybe took 30, 35 minutes.
Oh, wow. And
Yeah.
the secret for finding good quality mango is?
I usually buy frozen this time of year in our province.
Hey, it
If
works.
we were down south, it'd be a different story, but the frozen works. What I find with the frozen mango is like I take it and dice it really, really small because it does have a wetter consistency as well.
Yeah.
So it's a nice variation.
Yummy. And this, the pork pizza.
That freezes really well, so it was just a variation of my sliced meat. Threw that on. If I wanted to put some veggies, I could have done that, but I wanted to save some time as I was prepping it, so I just did cheese and meat. And
Oh,
sometimes children at home, they're not really into the veggies. I mean, you can
Right.
hide some things, but some kids like just cheese pizzas. But what you could do with that is just put a little veggie tray on the side when you go to eat and incorporate it in that way as well.
So we're looking at, roughly about 20 minutes, half hour of prep time, and maybe another 20 minutes cooking time for each dish? Or is that too much time?
Too much time for everything that's here. Yeah,
Excellent.
it was just like, because what I've done too sometimes when I cook is I'll use frozen veggies on the side, so
Yeah.
that even speeds it up, right?
Oh,
so
yes,
the
yeah.
longest thing that it takes to cook is protein. So once the protein is cooked, you can kind of flip other things together. It's just a matter of taking the pitas out of the package and making everything up individually. But once things are cooked, it's so easy just to put it together and make the wraps and do up so many that you can freeze it. It's just a huge investment into your health and a huge investment
And the
into
spices
time.
make a great variation too.
Absolutely, without a doubt. Because you could easily, like I could have done a curry rub and did it that way, and sometimes even just sprinkling it into a salad can make a big difference as well.
So what advice would you give to someone, a little bit intimidated by healthy meal planning and cooking and things like that?
I think start small and work your way up. It's a full skill set. There's a full generation that doesn't know how to cook, and healthy eating actually starts in their kitchen. We don't always need a fancy recipe to be following if we simplify and just do the basics. Sometimes what I'll do with a family pack of chicken breasts is just put it in the oven while I'm watching TV, set a timer and go back to it. And again, if you have that base done, you can buy frozen vegetables and put with it. What I did even when I cooked up my pot of rice, I've got a rice cooker and I put a little bit of Italian salad dressing into that to give a little bit of flavor. And I actually threw my frozen vegetables on top of that.
Nice.
And cooked it right in the rice pot. So it made it a whole lot easier to get it out. And you can freeze that in individual portion sizes as well. So I can freeze rice in a 1/2 cup, 3/4 cup portion size that I can pull out and do a beef stir fry another night. Or if I wanted to do a vegetarian option, I could add to that as well.
Well, these are absolutely delicious meals. Thank you so much, Tara, for coming in and showing us and sharing it with us some expert tips here for us.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for the invite.